8 with me out loud. Ready? Go. Love never fails. Love never, let's say it again. Love never fails. I like to read famous quotes. It's interesting to me how quotes become a part of our culture. And some of the famous quotes and statements that are made that make their way into everyday life. Like, it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all, by Alfred Tennyson. Knowledge is power. Francis Bacon said that. Another one, to err is human, to forgive is divine. Alexander Pope. Here's one, God helps those that help themselves. How many of you thought that was a Bible verse? Be honest. That was one by Ben Franklin. I want to give you the title of my book, Love Like You've Never Been Hurt, is a quote that the best that they can tell from a man that maybe you never heard about. He was inducted in 1982 as the first African American pitcher in the American League. He played 20 years of baseball. His name is Leroy Satchel Paige. The amazing thing about him is he played baseball in a time when he was the only black man on the field pitching. And he was criticized. They would yell racial slurs from the stands at him. One of the stories that is verified, that's told, he was such an amazing athlete, that they said that one of the teams, in an attempt to humiliate him, lined up their 4 best batters straight up. You know, normally you go 3 and then you get your best batter up and then you go 3 so that he can knock them in. But they took their 4 best batters and they put them up to try to intimidate him. And when Satchel Paige began to pitch, before he did it, he said to his outfield, go into the dugout. And he said to the men around the bases, first, second, and third, sit down on the bases. And he went on to pitch against the 4 professional baseball players, and he struck every one of them out. Many times he played 2 games a day. He had some famous pitches. One of them was called the B-ball, another one called the bat dodger, another one called the long tom. But his most famous pitch was one called the hesitation pitch. It's the most awkward, weird-looking stance, and he would freeze in that position. And when he would, it would throw the batter's timing off, and that's how he struck out so many people. He pitched 3 innings when he was 60 years old for Kansas City. He had some famous quotes. One of them was, if you want to be a good pitcher, keep the ball off the fat part of the bat. He's also given credit for this quote. Work like you don't need the money. Dance like nobody's watching. And then this is the phrase that changed my life in one of the darkest seasons of our family's life. He said, after he was attacked and slurred racially by people screaming from the stands at him, they said, how do you feel about that? He said, you've got to love like you've never been hurt. Sooner or later, everyone under the sound of my voice is going to suffer hurt. You're going to be rejected. You're going to be let down. You're going to be talked about. You're going to have a conflict with somebody probably that you love. You're going to be stabbed in the back. And while I said that, for most of you, a face has already come up before you. You're thinking of somebody right now that has happened to. Mark Twain said, if you find a dog on the side of the road that's hurt, that's starving, that's mangy, that's dirty, that's dying, and you feed that dog, take it home and groom it and nurture it back to health, that dog will never bite you. And then he went on to say, therein lies the major difference between a human being and a dog. Because many times the people that you've loved the most will hurt you the deepest.